Andreas, a moment ago, you mentioned a very important point when we're talking about innovation. And as you pointed out so rightly, in aerospace, you have two major competitors. In the auto industry, maybe you have 12 major competitors, but you have a very fragmented industry. And not only in terms of the number of shipyards, but in ship owners as well, who can undercut and leads to all sort of perverse consequences. Let's move on from innovation. Let me ask you very quickly, because one of the change makers will be further consolidation. What is the ramifications of that as you look at that?
I think consolidation is a good thing. It's a good thing for customers because one can provide more flexible service. And by the way, I should say there are, of course, limits. If you consolidate too much, it becomes anti-competitive. But we've got a long way to go in shipping. So I think that consolidation allows you to have more resources to concentrate on what you're doing, to innovate, to provide flexible service to customers. It's something we should keep doing. And we bought another fleet last week, so we're trying to do our part.
Yeah. Walter.
Yeah, I agree. It is good, and it will happen. And I guess we need it as suppliers also.
Yeah. Jakob.
I totally agree with Andreas, but I also want to point out that we still need small, competitive and innovative companies to be there to create new ideas.
Yeah. Let me ask you another thing, because we haven't talked about it yet, but I think it's a huge issue. Earlier, Sturlen Henriksen from the Norwegian Shipowners Association talked about a survey, and I couldn't get to all of it, but one of the things that really stood out for me in that survey was 8 out of 10 Norwegian shipping companies say they are having a problem finding qualified Norwegian personnel, okay? This, again, is a real game changer, and if the industry is going to move forward, we are going to have to attract young talent. Now, North Shipping is doing its bit. I don't know how many of you have made it to the Ocean Talent Camp yet, but it is a terrific exhibit. We need to support these young people. We need to have the passion that young man who won the Entrepreneur Award has. You know, how can we make young people want to be excited about this industry? How can we support them? Henrik?
I think communication is very important, because this industry really does so much good for the world. And it's a global industry. It should be very exciting to be part of it. So in the past, maybe we have talked it too much down. There's been too much focus on things going wrong. And in communication-wise, if we can talk about all the wonderful things the industry is doing, that could attract young people.
Andreas, I think you're the youngest person on this panel, so I'm going to ask you.
Well, you get talent either from the sea, people who have been on the ships, or by inspiring and educating, investing in people going through maritime colleges and so on, or by finding them from around the world. And you know, I think the challenge in Western countries is that we're seeing less seafarers, so that channel is drying up. And we have to emphasize this second channel. But I would just make a small note on the third one, which is, I think, going forwards, open economies which are welcoming to people from all over the world. I know people are worried these days about immigration and migration and so on, but if you get the right talents and you have an open society, an open economy, you are going to do better in future, because when your domestic talent pool runs dry, you can take from the whole world.
Walter.
I think that we underestimate the youth, and we don't easily understand how they communicate. And I think we need to understand what is their agenda, and we need to understand what they're looking for. And I think certainly here in Norway, engineering or the shipping industry is not a lot talked about. So people don't actually know what it is. So I think we need to really tune in on their frequency.
Yeah. Jakob.
Totally agree. The communication is one of the key elements, and we as innovative companies providing the technologies for the shipping industry, we see it every day. And as a strong supporter of LNG in the future, that's one example of trying to find competent people and crew to run the LNG ships in the future.
Okay. Cody.
Well, when it comes to the human resource availability, there are two sort of different types of the people. The people who run the operation of the daily business of shipping, that is mainly seafarers. We want to ensure the competence of the seafarers, because we do not want to come to some sort of accident or spill. It is important to ensure global standard applied, adopted by the International Maritime Organization. The other group of the people and experts is to ensure innovation. And I think that belongs to the initiative of shipping companies and manufacturers and classification society. And I think those groups should promote the new talented young people to generate an innovation. And probably open innovation may be the important element for the future.